Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, also called a spirit navigator. Today we're going to be talking politics. Good Lord knows there is a lot going on right now. And I channel my spirit guides. It's about 60% them, 40% me. I am literally consciously channeling them right now. Today I'm going to cover a couple of topics. First of all, I just want to touch on what's going on with the United States situation. I really cannot say certain words. I know maybe other channels do for whatever reason. I'm on some kind of list, been the story of my whole life. And if I say certain words, my channel gets throttled. I know this because they tell me this. So you'll see through this video, I might be avoiding certain words. Just bear with me. So regarding the thing that we did on November 5th and the rigged situation that happened, yes, I did say that, and I've been saying that since the morning of the 6th. So I want to just tell you guys what the current energy is very quickly, because I know we're all tired of hearing about it. We're tired of thinking about it. It's exhausting, and I get it. I'm exhausted about it as well. I want to just give you this image the spirit guides gave me. Imagine if you're a crook. Imagine if you're a crook and you go and you rob this place. And instead of like being able to get just to the cash box, you realize everything is open. All the doors are open. You can get to the jewelry. You can get to the expensive items, whatever they may be. And being a crook, you're greedy and you want it all. You're not going to just stop with this one, thing that you thought you would only be able to get. You're going to be like, no, let me load all of it up. Let me go and get all of this. It's all for the taking. Nobody knows I'm in here and they don't even know how I got in here. It's like I've got free reign to go crazy. The spirit guides talked about the Republicans smash and grab our rights. Smash and grab is a term used when someone smashes a window and grabs those expensive items, doesn't even go in. They just grab the items in the window, or they run in and grab whatever they can and they run out. This is a smash and stroll. They get to like smash, they get to get in, and they're like, oh, well, we'll just spend a little time in here. We'll get everything we want and more. Now, the problem with that is a greedy person cannot carry all of their largesse, all of their stolen goods out with them. They become overloaded by their greed. They can't carry the TV and the Rolexes and the cash. They just can't carry all of those expensive items. So what happens is they're not going to put them down. They're crooks. They're not going to, they don't have that kind of common sense or that kind of intelligence. They simply are greedy individuals. So they're going to instead continuing piling everything on that they can and then trying to either A, get out, or B, never get out because you're greedy. When are you going to stop? Nobody's stopping you, right? This is an allegory. This is a metaphor for what's happening. They have broken into the Constitution. Doors were not that secure. Now they've got access to everything from the inside out, from the inner workings of our country. They are inside looting, pillaging, stealing, and just going crazy. But what's happening is two things. First of all, they can't carry it all out. They're overloading themselves. So you see this with how fantastically horrible 45 has been in his picks. He's going hog wild. He basically thinks I'm a dictator already. I can do anything I want. I don't need anybody's approval. I'm going to appoint whoever I want. I'm going to steal. I'm going to grab. I'm going to pay to play. If this country doesn't give me what I want, I'm going to smack them with tariffs. He basically is stealing everything, but he can't get away with it because it's too much. He cannot carry it out. He cannot carry the plan out. He cannot carry the items out. He can't complete this farce that he's trying to complete. Okay? He's not going to pull it off. He cannot. He's bit off more than he can chew. So if you can imagine that a crook is inside this very, bank, store, whatever you want to call it, and they're just loading up. They're just like, I'll take this and I'll take this. And this is crazy because nobody knows I'm here. And pretty soon they can't even walk because they're carrying so much stuff, so many stolen items. Then they're just going to stay there until the police come because they don't have any sense. They really believe their own BS. They really believe that they're smarter than everybody else and that this back room, this back access that they got into this place, maybe the Constitution, is no one will ever know. I'm so smart. No one will ever know I'm here. I can just stay here. That is not true. We are at the place where now we know. Now Biden knows. Everybody knows. And now we're at the place of what will we do about it? That could take many different turns because Biden has free will. Okay, everybody, you have free will. You maybe forgot to brush your teeth. Maybe you decided to not get that report out on time. Maybe you decided to not eat healthy today. That was your free will. Maybe your spirit guides are like, eat the salad, eat the salad, eat the salad. Yeah, she went for the cheese, right? That's your free will. Nobody in this world is making you do anything. Okay. So when I'm reading the energy, I'm reading not just your energy as if I were reading you. I'm reading, 700 freaking people, that all have a potential to impact the outcome. So that's why this is so difficult. But I will tell you one thing for sure. He cannot pull this off. He's bit off more than he could chew. If he would have done this more masterfully, it could have been the end. It could have been the end of our democracy. But he's too greedy, stupid, and callous, and believes his own BS. And this is going to come to a bad end for him. Okay. Now, the other thing, and so when I say how is it going to end, like right now, the other thing I will tell you, Spirit Guides have been telling me, is that we're going to have a moment where the lights go on and off. Think about when you're outside at night or you're looking out your window and it's storming and it's pitch black, and all of a sudden lightning lights up and you can see the garage or you can see the trees. It went from pitch black to you being able to see something that normally you wouldn't be able to see, but only for a blink, only for that short period of time. But in this scenario that they're describing, being able to see that changes everything for us. It changes our perception. It actually resets our brain or resets our understanding of our democracy. It resets our understanding of the presidency, of the Congress, of the judiciary. It actually knocks us back on our heels more than anything that we've already experienced. So you can understand that this is going to be quite the shock and awe. Okay. But it has to happen because we need to be almost like another way that they used it. And I'm on Threads and I'm on Blue Sky, and I put a post and I said, it's like when the patient is coding and they put the paddles on the patient and they shock it back to life. That's where we are. That's not only the United States of America, but a lot of countries are also in this same place to varying degrees, right? You might say Syria is right up there, right? Some other countries might be even more so than us, but we are certainly up there in that, definitely needing to be shocked, just shocked. Now, a couple of ways this can happen. One thing I want you to keep an eye on are the two words that they keep mentioning, which is extrajudicial. The guide started saying extrajudicial months ago. It just means outside of justice. Well, you might say everything 45 does is extrajudicial. I mean, how many laws has he broken and gotten away with? But also extrajudicial can also mean vigilante. Okay, so as we go forward, I want you to pay attention to some things because things are not as they seem. We're going to see, for instance, right? What they're saying is, for instance, they stole the thing, but they are saying we stole the thing. So there's going to be a lot of this. Wait a minute, which side is right? How can we figure out what is right here? Another thing is really South Korea. I know that they shouldn't have done a police state. Um, that's not a democratic thing to do. But I'm telling you, there's more that meets the eye there. It's not black and white. You guys, we've got to stop thinking black and white. It's not, nothing is black and white. There's going to be crumbs of truth that are going to be helpful to us to understand. If we just throw it all out and say they're wrong, then we're missing an opportunity to get some good information or learn an important thing. Okay. So as we go forward, I feel like this vigilante justice, which kind of what happened in South Korea, right? Everybody got in the streets and they said, no, extrajudicial, outside of the law. Protesters got out there and said, no, we're not going to have this. Okay. The guy that unalived the CEO of the healthcare company has become a folk hero. People are getting his face tattooed on them. People are dressing. In New York, they had a look-alike contest where people tried to get the same jacket, ostensibly to be cool, but also to confuse and confound the authorities so that they see him everywhere. This is extrajudicial. This is outside of the law. This is vigilante. Maybe it's common man justice is what the spirit guides are saying. As a matter of fact, one of the posts that I put on Threads and Blue Sky was, is this guy the modern day Robin Hood? Right? So the thing that's interesting about this guy is that when you go to anybody, right or left, and I mean seriously, right or left, everybody is for him. He's actually uniting us against the real bad people who are the greedy CEOs, which is very Pluto in Aquarius, which is what we're going into, which is power of the people, which is kind of French Revolution. Okay. This is the energy we're in now where the people are not going to take it anymore. And we might find ourselves on the same side as people we don't like, strange bedfellows. The spirit guide said 6 months ago that there would be an opportunity for us to all be in the streets together and to say, wait a minute, aren't you a red hat? Yeah. Aren't you a blue hat? Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because we're mad about healthcare. Because my grandma, my wife, my son, myself experienced inhumane treatment at the hands of these CEOs. And now we all have a common villain. And that villain is CEOs and greed. That's not going to end well for a CEO that's greedy like 45. No matter what happens, I don't think he's going to get back in. But no matter what happens, he's not going to be long in because we have reached critical mass. People are now getting to a point where they just can't take it anymore. And they're going to take situation in their own hands. And honestly, I hate to say this, and I'm not condoning violence. And I'm telling you right now, please get help. If you feel that upset, that you feel like you need to do something that would be violent, this is your wake up call from me to get help. Okay. To get therapy, to take some time out, to take care of yourself. That's not the answer. Okay. However, energetically, I can see that happening. I can see liberals going stark raving mad. I'm telling you, they're going to make MAGAs look like kindergartners. Okay. We have been pushed too far. And I just we had an opportunity with Kamala Harris to bring it all together, to try to ameliorate, to try to calm the masses. That didn't happen. It got stolen. So now here we are. We are beyond fed up. And whatever happens, this is the populace that the new person is going to get. A populace that isn't going to care about laws, perhaps, about traditions, about the presidency, Congress. They're just going to take matters in their own hands. That's very much Pluto and Aquarius, okay? So be aware of that, that we too, we can also be part of that, okay? So I want you to be aware of your mental health, of how you're feeling. If you're feeling upset, take time out, detox from the digital land, go out into nature, go in your backyard, sit on your porch. Sometimes just sitting outside when it's cold can be bracing in a sense that it can bring you back into yourself, right? It can reconnect you to your body because we're not connected with our body right now. So do things that connect you to your physical body. When you take that shower, be in your physical body. It can really help. Okay. Now, that's what I'm going to say about that. Of course, I'm going to be doing more videos on this, but that's the message that the spirit guides wanted me to deliver. I think I delivered it. The next thing I want to talk about is SCOTUS, because all anybody is talking about is 45. I'm sick of it. I know you are too. So I was wondering, well, in the middle of this three-ring circus dumpster fire, what is SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court? What are they thinking? So I was immediately drawn to Chief Justice Roberts. So when I go into Chief Justice Roberts' energy, he feels there's a sense of betrayal. His power is being usurped. He doesn't like, these people have their own power. Mitch McConnell has his own power. The Senate has their own power. They're powerful, right? The judiciary, especially Supreme Court, has their own power. They can check, Congress. They can check a president. These people don't try for these positions if they don't like power and they're not comfortable using power. So if you're already going to throw your hat in the ring for a senator or a SCOTUS or president, you're comfortable with power, okay? And you're not going to just become a lackey unless you're forced to. And Justice Roberts wasn't forced to. He is his own man. Now, I think he's made mistakes, and this is all allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. I think he's made mistakes, and I think those mistakes could definitely be unethical, but even borderline criminal, allegedly. And I think those mistakes are going to, the spirit guides are saying they're going to smear his reputation in the future. He is not going to go down as a respected Chief Justice. They're saying he's ruined his reputation in the future, meaning, I think, again, a lot of these people that try for these jobs, they think about their legacy. They think about, oh, there's going to be a law school named after me. There's going to be a wing of this place, this university named after me. Many times presidents have airports named after them or certain important things. Chief Justice Roberts is going to go down besmirched. This is the word they always want to use, which is a very kind of an old word, but besmirched, meaning, I'll put the definition on the thing, but basically it means disgraced, I think, but it's an old word. So he's worried. He wants to, his problem is that he is the leader of a group that is, the word they want to say is inconsolidated or inconsolate. Inconsolate. I don't know if that's a word, but anyway, basically it's not together. This group is not together. Now you would think, okay, of course, Susan, they're not going to be together. You have the liberals and you have the, conservatives, but there's no anything going on here, even among the conservatives, I guess is what I would say. So he feels that he's doomed. I just heard him say, "I'm doomed," and there's no way out. He can only retire or step down or something. But he needs to continue going because he's got things in the works that feel like he needs to see them through. Perhaps these are things that he promised certain people allegedly, or that even at his own thoughts, his own beliefs, he feels I need to stay in to get this. He's very conservative. I don't know if anybody really understands how conservative he is because he plays at being the nice guy who's fair and moderate. He is not. He has some whacked out views about women and about race and class. He's very much, I think, the oligarchical energy, right? But that doesn't mean he wants to give up his role to. He just doesn't like 45. He doesn't trust him and he doesn't like him. If 45 was a business person, a businessman that was respected and he really revered, he would do it. He would just fall right in line. But he doesn't like 45. 45 doesn't believe. Is he one of those Christian nationalist? There's another, like a secret sect, like I'm hearing this. It's not Christian nationalist, but is it Opus Dei or something? It's something like that. And 45 is no Opus Dei. 45 is no religious nothing. 45 is a disgrace, according to John Roberts. So he's going to buck the system, is what they're telling me. If something should get in front of the Supreme Court, now I have to tell you that I've read on this at least 3 times and I've gotten 3 different answers. So John Roberts has changed his mind about this. The last time I read on it, he was going to rubber stamp 45. This time, I think he may not. It really depends on him, on his interest. If he thinks that 45 is going to somehow allow him to do what he needs to do, he'll keep 45. If he thinks 45 is going to block him, then he'll get rid of him. It's really his interest. And he's not sure. The thing about 45 is that he can let you do whatever you want to do and not care. But if for some reason he gets your attention and he focuses on you, he'll take you out. He'll take your power. If he thinks you're a threat to him, he'll take your power. He'll block you. So Roberts is in a real position. Again, that same I don't know what to do regarding the other justices, he has in his own situation. He's not a guy who has a strong conviction, but he doesn't have a strong will. So sometimes he's wishy-washy unless somebody steps in and says, this is what you do. And even though he doesn't really like women per se, his wife is very accomplished, as is Vance's wife, as is a lot of these people's wives that don't like women. And she has his ear, as is Coney Barrett. She's very accomplished, yet she's in this very bizarre religious situation where her husband has to approve everything she does. So these men outwardly vote against and do things against women as a whole, but yet they have these women that are super bossy and super controlling and super professional and super successful. So I don't understand that. It's very, very bizarre, but that's what it is. It's for me, not for thee, right? It's always been that. Like, I can break the rule, but you can't. I can, Thomas, I can marry a white woman, but you can't. It's always been that I'm in a different class than you. I'm in the ruling class. You don't understand. The ruling class can do whatever we want. You, however, are just, nothing, and you cannot do anything, right? So that's what I get, John Roberts. I think that he's hiding something for sure. And I think that I just want to say this, if Biden stays in, I've done another video on this, please watch that. If Biden stays in because we have some kind of attack or some kind of war situation, which I don't think is going to be WW3. Of course, the media will call it that because that sells, that's going to get you to click on all their little clickbait. So please don't do that. It could be a flash where war is declared, but I don't see it being any kind of war we've ever experienced before. It could be a Cold War. It could be a war of drones. It could be some other kind of war, but not particularly. It could start out as a hot war, meaning shots fired, but I don't see it continuing very long. It's almost like when you throw something in a pan and the fire comes up and then it goes down. That's what I see. A flame up and then it goes down. So if Biden gets in, John Roberts is going to be a pain in his butt. And that's what I've always seen. If we continue with Democratic president, all these people that would be sort of pushing back against 45 now swing around and push back against whoever that person is. So he's going to continue to be a problem. The next person that wants to come in about this is Samuel Alito. He is, I think he is definitely Opus Dei or some kind of crazy sect, secret society thing. It's interesting because whereas Roberts thinks this is not a good idea, Samuel Alito thinks it's a great idea. He wants to annihilate our democracy. He wants to break it down because what they're showing me is, and this is only as a metaphor, it's only to explain something, okay? When you join the armed forces, they break you down. Like you have to become one of them. You're not Joe Blow, you're Joe Blow, private, first class, or whatever. That's what boot camp does. Boot camp turns you into a soldier. That's what he wants to happen with the democracy, is that we get broken down so that this new world order, this new ruling class, this oligarchical energy can take over. So Alito is thrilled by all of this. And he thinks that Roberts is too wishy-washy. He thinks Roberts is not a good Chief Justice, and he wants the Chief Justice job. He thinks he should have it. He thinks Roberts is terrible. He doesn't respect Roberts. Now, I wanted to talk about one other, Gorsuch. Now, so the interesting thing about Gorsuch is I've been reading on SCOTUS on Supreme Court pretty frequently for the last year, and I never read on Gorsuch, and I was like, wait, where has he been? How come he never comes up in the energy? It's almost like he's got a little invisible cloak on. He's like, don't anybody look at me. I'm over here. I'm nobody. Don't pay attention to me. That's the very person you want to pay attention to. The one who's hiding is the one you want to see what they're up to. So when I go into Gorsuch energy, well, I mean, this is my opinion. This is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. I'm sorry. They just called him a crybaby. When I look at his picture, he's a crybaby. He can be cruel. He can be very arrogant. But if you hurt his little baby feelings, he cries. He's like a crybaby. But he's very arrogant. He wants to do everything on the down low. He believes that he's an originalist. I don't know anything about this guy. I'm just telling you what I'm getting as I look at his picture. He's an originalist. He believes we should go back to what the founding fathers wrote. And if you know what that is, then basically white men control everything, right? Women couldn't vote. If you weren't white, you were not even considered representative or a human, or I don't even know what they thought, but he's an originalist. He wants to go back to, again, there's a kind of a theme happening here of like white men rule everything, right? So is there anybody else? Brett Kavanaugh, we already know he is a crybaby because he cried. because I don't remember. I think it was Kamala Harris made him cry. um, he's kind of checked out. This is allegedly, in only my opinion, he is potentially for sale. He is whoever has the best, whatever it is, cognac, money, whatever. He's for sale. So, I don't know. I'm just here. I'll do whatever you want. He's a what is a stool pigeon? Isn't that somebody who, I don't know what that is, but that's what they're telling me. I'll look it up and put it on the screen. And then Amy Coney Barrett is the one that I think is going to surprise us. And I'm not saying she's going to turn into a liberal by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that she has a little doubt. Like there's disparity. She's starting to, and this is not good. When you believe with all your heart and soul that the sun rises every day, and then you see where it might not rise, your whole world is rocked. Like you're like, wait a minute, everything I believed might be wrong. And the guides are saying it takes a lot of energy to believe something that you don't really believe. When you're been indoctrinated into a cult, it takes a lot of programming, constant re kind of feeding, they're saying, feeding that idea. If you stop feeding them the information, they start losing touch with that program that was brought down over their original soul, their original brain, their original thinking was compromised by this programming that this cult did. And she has something isn't adding up in her life right now. Uh, so she really she could be going through some hard times, because she cannot, especially as a SCOTUS, you can't just, I mean, I'm saying you can't, and I always say to people, never say you can't, but her energy suggests that she's saying, I've cast my lot. My life is done. I must go through with it. But yet she's voting on things that actually really hurt her kids. She has like 7 children, and I think some of them are adopted, I don't know. But she's doing things that really hurt them, or hurt their potential spouses, or her grandkids, or her great grandkids. And she's like, why am I doing this? But she's really stuck, because what is she going to do? Right? If we get enough of a running start into a new liberal regime, is what they're saying, what they're calling it, you could see her loosen up. Again, I don't ever see her being liberal, but I could see her loosening up. I could see her kind of being the wild card on the court. Like she might go this way, like John McCain. Like she might go this way, she might go that way. She's going to keep her own counsel, right? And despite being in this weird religion where she's supposed to ask her husband if she can have breakfast, or I don't even know what like the way I understand it is she has to ask him about anything. Despite that, she's actually really her own woman. So I think this is a pretense. That the pretense is that she has to get that she bows down before him, but she's really not. She's really actually very, very smart, brilliant even. And she doesn't have it in her soul to be soulless. She's not a soulless person. So she's having some internal conflict, which is really hard when you have internal conflict. Okay, then the only other thing that I would say is Justice Sotomayor. I know she has, I think she has diabetes. I don't know that she's all that well, unfortunately. I know that people suggested that she should step down before all this went down, and she declined. Um, And I get it that she feels like she can hang on. We all do we not? We're the last people to say, I can't do this, right? We're the last people. We believe in ourselves. So I don't know, you guys. I would just send her a lot of love and light. And you know what? Please don't go into comments and say she should have stepped down and Ruth and it's not helpful. It's just vitriolic. It's just hate filled. You're just blaming. You're mad. You're angry, and you're blaming everybody else. Ruth made her decision. That's it. There's no reason to go back and blame her for that. She made the decision. That was her decision. Sonia Sotomayor is making her decision. Yelling at her, being vitriolic and angry isn't really going to help anything. It's just perpetuating your own anger. So what I would suggest is let's send her love and light. Let's lift her up. Let's embrace her with love. Let's embrace her with wellness. Because you want to know what? We need her. We need her to stay on this court. So let's not send her anger and unforgiveness. That's not helping her. It's not helping you and me. We're just, you're basically sending her daggers. Why would you do that, right? Okay. Now, the last thing I want to cover and the other justices, I mean, I can't. I can't with Thomas. I can't do it. I'm not even going into his energy. I don't think I could do it. The last thing I'll just talk about is Kamala Harris. Look, you guys, she's been jilted. I've said this before that even if she was offered the presidency, she might say no because she feels jilted. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just reading her energy. She feels like the American people don't want her, and she doesn't want to be a president of America that doesn't want her. She also feels, like I've said many times, that she really let those that loved her so much, and so those that she touched their souls and their hearts and she made promises to, she doesn't want to let them down. So and I've said this, I've gotten this energy for a long time. I can see Biden saying, kid, you got to do it. They voted for you. You got to do it, kid. I'm not saying she's a quitter. I'm saying that she's saying, maybe I'm not the best person for this. If they didn't vote for me, maybe this isn't the way to do this, right? So you can understand how complicated all this energy is. You've got all these hundreds of people that have got free will that feel some kind of way about everything. It's literally like mayhem energetically. It's chaos. That's the other word they talked about. They talked about extrajudicial and chaos or chaotic or chaos agent. These are the two words that's going to be used over and over again in the media. This is the two words that are always going to be used to describe this time. So I feel like there's real possibility that Biden extends the presidency through the War Powers Act or through the other thing that it has an acronym, but it basically gives him the ability to say, we're under attack and I'm not leaving the presidency. But I also feel like Kamala Harris is destined to be president, but she has free will. She might decide, and I've always seen her as governor ever since they rigged this. They stole this. So I think she's reset her sights on being governor of California and coming back at the presidency when the climate has changed. Now, I don't know that she's going to, this is like when you send in a notice to your company for a transfer. When you say, I really love you and I love this place, but I really want to work over there. And your company says yes or no. I don't know what the universe is going to say to her. I don't know. It could, again, it's not so much about the people, it's about the energy and the lessons. Who is going to help us learn this lesson at this time? That will be the person that gets the nod. So another way this could happen, and this sounds crazy to me, but we'll see what happens, is remember how Nancy Pelosi wanted to have an open, what do you call that when you have everybody run, all the Democrats would get in there and run. There's a name for it. She wanted to do that. She didn't want Kamala Harris. She wanted us to have this thing where the electors would say, okay, we're going to vote for Gavin Newsom or somebody else. And Biden said, nope, that's not how we're doing this. Kamala Harris gets my nod. I'm giving this to Kamala Harris. But here we are. Kamala Harris does not have the support of the Democratic Party. I am sorry to say it. You know it. I know it. We know it. It all went down after Biden stepped down. We saw who our friends were. We saw the Democrats, and then we decided we got to all get together and get through this race. We're on the other side now. And those camps have gone back into their corners. So there are still people who are not supporting Kamala Harris, that are Democrats, that are big Democrats, that are leaders. And I mean, I think Kamala Harris is like, this is stupid. Why would I do this? Right? Like, the half of the people are racist, misogynist jerks. And the other half of my Democratic Party doesn't want me for some kind of reason that might be the same. Why would I do this? I'm not going to be effective. I want to be effective at leading my people. Why would I put myself through this and just fail? Not, this is, if you're looking at it on a cost benefit, like, am I really going to be able to pull this off and help people? I think she's saying, maybe not. Maybe this is not for me. Now, energetically, her lesson was to be the law and order president and to rule over a divided country. This is what they told me 4 years ago. So again, she's going to put in for the request. I don't know if it's going to be approved. Also, if we do this thing, like, all of this is crazy, right? Am I doing conspiracy theories? Am I talking crazy? Probably. I'm a psychic medium. If you're watching this far, I would just say take everything with a grain of salt that I'm saying. It's energy, okay? Did anybody believe that we would have Matt Gaetz or Hegseth as defense secretary? You know what I mean? We are not in a place that we've ever been before. We need to be flexible. We cannot say this is never going to happen, because y'all, we're in a place that already was never supposed to happen. Okay. So there could be a situation where Biden stays on as president, and then when he decides that the all clear is given, probably around March, April, I hate to say May, then we have not a new election, a la, the other country that's doing this, but we have a new Democratic election. Oh, primary. We have a new primary. It's crazy. I know it's crazy, but this is some of the energy that's here. Am I saying this is going to happen? No, I'm saying this is one of the opportunities, one of the potential outcomes. And if there's a primary, that's going to piss off a bunch of Americans like me that voted for Kamala Harris, that wanted Kamala Harris, that worked for her. Right? So it's all about division. Our lesson is division. We started the beginning of this video talking about how we're going to get coalesced again, perhaps over greedy billionaires. So can you see how, like, insane this energy is? On one hand, we all agree that CEOs and healthcare companies are bilking us and killing us. But then when we want to talk about race, we go on different corners. It's very wild right now, okay? But those are some potentialities, okay? The other potentiality is that Biden steps down. We've all read on this. These are all things we've seen in the energy, okay? This is one of the options. Think about Spirit having 10 buttons that they can push on their magic computer screen. And depending on what happens, Syria went down, let's push this button. Now we can do this. Before, it wasn't really going to work, but now that Syria went down and Putin is dropped down, now we can push this button. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Biden might step down, hand it to Kamala, and I don't think he's going to step down of his own volition. This is not a man who steps down from things. You see how hard it was for him to step down from the presidency. He may have to step down due to some kind of health scare or some kind of health complication. Like literally, this again, it goes back to that same energy of kid, you got to do it. Like he's talking to Kamala and he says, kid, you got to do it. Do it for me. I can't do it. And Kamala takes the reins in the last couple of weeks. Imagine. Well, then, if she's got the reins, is she going to be the prosecutor? Is she going to say, okay, now that I've got the reins, I have to I can't walk away and give the democracy to an autocrat. I have to do something. So you see what I'm saying? All this to say that the next 6 weeks are going to be wild. And you're going to see things like, how did Syria fall so quickly? How? This guy was murderous. This guy was the worst kind of monster ever. Yet his whole regime fell. What? In the blink of an eye, in the lightning strike. In a lightning strike, lights on, lights off. Syria now toppled. This is the energy we're in. Lights on, lights off. Big changes. So the thing to do is to understand that it's not healthy to stay glued to everything that's going on. It's not healthy because there's going to be more and more and more unbelievable, shock and awe things happening. And believe me, if you don't want to miss anything and you're like, I don't want to miss anything, you're not going to miss anything, because the way I do spirit, the way I do it is I don't go looking for news. I don't have cable TV. I haven't watched mainstream news ever in years. If I go on Threads or I just open my Google thing or somebody texts me. That's how I know stuff is going down, Susan. Spirit will show you what you need to know. If it's important to you, you will learn about it. Your friend will tell you, your coworker will tell you, your spouse will tell you. You don't need to be plugged into this. It's like they're showing me, it's like being plugged into an outlet, like an electrical outlet, and getting electrocuted. And you're getting electrocuted. And if you know anything about that, you can't remove yourself. You're stuck to that thing. And somebody has to take like a piece of wood or something and knock you off of it. Okay? So don't plug yourself into this. It's not helpful. It's not going to be good for you. Okay? And it's only going to get more insane. I promise you. I'm sorry to say this, but you've been warned. Forewarned is forearmed. It's going to get crazier and crazier. And we don't need to be on this roller coaster. What we really need is to be drinking water, grounding ourselves, going outside, watching videos of puppies and kittens and babies laughing, whatever it is that makes you calm and brings you down. Is you worrying about Syria going to help? No, it's not. Is you worrying about Biden or 45? Your worry is just not helping anything. It's actually just hurting you. So when just think about it, this is not effective. It's not really helping anything. Okay. If you want to help them, pray, send energy. It really does work. If you don't believe me, look up the guy who prayed. There's so many people who've put glasses of water and said bad things to one glass and good things to the other glass. Guess what happened? Even plants, bad things. Science, this has been proven in science. If you say bad things over and over again to this plant, it's stunted, it doesn't grow. If you say good things or play classical music to this plant, it grows. That's you. You're saying bad things to yourself. You're stunting yourself. You're sending worries and anger out to whoever, but that's not really going. It's like in your little energy cloud. You're polluting your own aura with this stuff. Okay? Hopefully that helps. Take really, really, really good care of yourself. I'm going to be on live theoretically. Wednesday night with Kevin's healing medium. The healing medium, we're going to be doing live readings. So check out Wednesday night. I think it's going to be on my channel. I've got some other things happening this week so that are going to be interesting. Please check out my Wisdom on Wednesday videos. They're free. You can go to the Wisdom on Wednesday videos by clicking the round logo, go to my main YouTube channel, look for playlist, go to WOW, pick one. Work on you. Use this opportunity to raise your vibration. Use this opportunity to make you feel better. When we feel better, our energy creates a light bubble instead of a dark bubble full of worry and fear and anger. And those light bubbles become the lights at the end of the tunnel for those people stuck in the tunnel, for those people that are suffering, that are in pain, that are in a war situation. They're in the tunnel. That doesn't mean those of us that are not in that situation have to give up our light, have to stop being happy, have to stop having joy, because we are their light. We are the reason they get through the tunnel. And then sometimes we're in the tunnel and they're our light. So please don't give up the joy. And think of a kid. They always want to play. They always have the joy. They always laugh. Be a kid again. Okay? Take really, really good care of yourself. I'll see you soon right here on this channel.